Hi guys, got something else new to look at. I sold something off and got a good chunk of cash out of it, and I've immediately used that to get this machine. So it's been on my bucket list for a while actually, and it's a sort of 3-in-1, and I'm just getting it fixed up to the bench, which is not terribly. Let me put that down a minute. The bench isn't terribly level on top. It's a very old thing I made probably about 35 years ago, I think. Let's have another view. This is the back view of the unit. I've had to use some shims on the mounting points, and those are going into, it's about a 2¼ inch piece of elm wood, which originally I planed off and made for a woodwork bench, but these days it gets used for other things. Once I get this set up, I'll show you a bit more about it. I'm going to experiment with it and see if it damn well works. I hope. It costs an awful lot of money. Weighs probably over 200 pounds. My son and a friend of his came last night to help get it out of its crate and put it up on this bench, which is the only place I can put it actually. So we'll come back to that with a bit more info when I've got to put some bits back. These front mountings, I couldn't get at them for drilling and so on without taking some things off. By the way, if you notice a lot of clutter in the background here and there, I haven't really tidied up since the ceiling. I don't know when I'll get round to doing it. First job here was setting up the top blade here. And there are two adjustments here on this front shelf table, and these have got washers which are eccentrically welded on, and you get a sort of fine adjustment camming effect. The idea being to cope with the overall alignment. I've got it set up now fairly well. They recommend 5 to 8% of material thickness for your gap. And when I started, things were very, very tight in the middle. So the adjustment for that is done at the rear. And this spring and the bolt in the middle, there's a differential between the tension in the center and each end. And by turning this nut clockwise, relaxes the pressure on the center by just a few thou, and that brings the blade back. So as I was saying, we've now got a fairly even gap. This little block here, which is supposed to be sort of right angles, I've checked it, that's for the edge of your work. And then as the blade comes down, trying to do this all handheld, you finish up hopefully with a fairly uniform gap. I haven't made a test cut yet. We'll do that soon. Whilst I'm on this bit of footage, the brake dies, there are 6. You may just see the joins. That's the narrowest. It's something like 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and then what, 6, 8, 10, something like that. So for normal right angle stuff, or less, you can just leave the whole lot in, but they're all removable. So if you're making an upturned edge pan, for instance, you might well use one of these small ones on its own. I haven't taken those out yet and probably won't for a while. Okay, this is only a really quick review. I'm having to do most of it handheld because I can't get the camera straight onto this far enough away. Anyway, you've got the feed rollers. You've got 3 grooves here which are for wire bending, which might be handy. One of these each end to set your gap depending on the thickness of the material. And then at the back, the form roller is adjusted by one of these at each end. and those just let it drop back so that you can adjust your gap to choose your radius. So I've got to play around with that a bit. I've just put one small piece through, I'll do another. Well, here's a piece of scrap, just a piece of 18 gauge I think it is. We'll just try that. So the top roller is adjusted so that'll go in, hopefully, and then get it started. The last one I did started fairly easily. There we go. Now I've got to take that out, take the handle round and run through again. So it's quite a lot of messing around to do. That's just a fairly gentle radius, and if I tighten the reset the form roller, the rear roller, we could take that through and get a tighter radius. So you can only do so much at once, but it's a very useful tool to have, I think. One reason I went for this sort of triple function thing. Let's just try for a 90 degree or similar. Well, I haven't checked that with a square yet, but actually looks pretty square. And that's again with this sort of 18 gauge ordinary mild. And then the final test, let's change the angle a little bit. And I'm going to go into the middle of the shear blade as against at the beginning here. This is all first time, just trying it out. Oh, I know one thing I haven't put back, which I must remember, and I'll do that. We've got the spring keeper bar. Let me put that back. Alright, we've got the keeper bar back in with enough gap for the work to go through, and we'll just see what it makes of this. That's a bit too thick. Let's try something else. I think it says somewhere actually 20 gauge may be the limit on the steel. I wasn't going to pursue that one further. This the spring keeper bar I think probably needs to have a bit stronger springs. So I may put some, you can see that one anyway, I may put some spaces in so that the spring tension's greater. And that way the work will be held more when the cut begins. This is just a piece of, this is a 20 gauge aluminum I think. So it looks quite a clean cut. I've got to do some more trial cuts on various things, but anyway, that's the principle of it. So we've got three things. So I say, to recap, we've got three things. We've got the shear, the brake there, and the rollers. And I think it should be fairly useful. Just put the top back on there. So it was awfully expensive, incredibly heavy, and I've still got to read up a bit on the instruction manual for any other basic setups that are important. But basically there it is. Useful to have, I think. Hydraulic would be nice, but still useful. Thanks for watching. Side afterthought. I had two pieces of, I don't know, 12mm rod I expect it is, and I found a couple of holes that they would go in. It wasn't really referred to, I don't think, in the instructions, and then a piece of angle. and this is adjustable on these rod rails, shall we call them. Expect that to hold just to give a bit of support to the back end of a piece that's been cut off. No, it's probably actually for using the brake function, thinking about it. It's for the brake function. Alright, anyway, once again, thanks for watching.